Watch a toddler. They don't second-guess whether they should laugh, cry, or explore. You were born with perfect inner knowing. What happened? Think about it. When a baby is hungry, they cry. When they're happy, they smile. When something feels wrong, their entire body responds instantly. There's no committee meeting in their mind debating whether their feelings are valid. There's no inner critic whispering that maybe they're overreacting. They simply know, and they trust that knowing completely. You were that baby once. You came into this world with an intact connection to your inner wisdom, a direct line to the intelligence that beats your heart and grows your bones without any conscious effort on your part. You trusted your instincts the way you trusted gravity, without question, without doubt. So here's the question that we're diving into today. Why do we lose trust in ourselves? When did we start believing that everyone else knows better than we do about our own lives, our own bodies, our own truths? When did we trade our inner compass for a stack of other people's maps? Today we'll uncover how self-doubt is learned, which means it can be unlearned. We're going to trace the path from that confident toddler to the adult who can't decide what to have for lunch without checking 3 review sites. We'll explore how society systematically programs us to distrust our inner knowing, and more importantly, we'll remember that the wisdom you were born with never actually left. It's still there, waiting beneath layers of conditioning like a diamond buried under centuries of sediment. This isn't just about building confidence or positive thinking. This is about recognizing that your self-doubt isn't natural. It's manufactured. It's about understanding that every time you doubt yourself, you're doubting the same intelligence that keeps planets in orbit and turns seeds into forests. You're doubting the cosmic GPS that brought you here in the first place. So let's begin this journey of remembering. Let's excavate the truth about why we learn to trust everyone and everything except the one source that's been with us since before we took our first breath ourselves. There's a moment in every child's life when the forgetting begins. It's not dramatic. There's no thunderclap, no ceremony marking the transition. It happens in 1,000 tiny moments, each one teaching us to look outside ourselves for the truth instead of within. I want you to imagine a 5-year-old walking into their first day of school. Up until this point, they've navigated the world largely through feeling and instinct. They know when they're tired, when something interests them, when a person feels safe or unsafe. Their inner knowing is still their primary guidance system. But then they sit at a desk, and something profound begins to shift. The teacher writes 2 + 2 on the board and asks for the answer. The child might intuitively understand the concept of 4. They've been counting on their fingers, sharing toys, dividing cookies. But now they learn something new. The answer isn't inside them. It's outside. It's in the teacher's head, in the textbook, on the board. It's somewhere else, anywhere else, but not within. This is where the great forgetting begins. In our education system that, despite its best intentions, systematically trains to believe that knowledge, truth, and wisdom exist outside of us. Day after day, year after year, we're conditioned to raise our hands and wait for permission to speak our truth. We learn to second-guess our first instinct and look for the right answer in someone else's eyes. Think about how we test children. Multiple-choice questions with one correct answer determined by someone else. Essays graded against rubrics created by committees. Intelligence measured by how well you can repeat what others have discovered, not by your ability to trust and follow your own discoveries. We don't teach children to check in with their inner knowing. We teach them to check their answers against the answer key. But it goes deeper than formal education. The forgetting happens at home too, often in the most well-meaning families. Picture this scene. A child comes home from playing a friend's house. Something feels off to them. Maybe the friend's older sibling said something that made them uncomfortable, or maybe the energy in the house just felt wrong. The child can't articulate it. They just know they don't want to go back. "Don't be silly," the parent might say. "They're such a nice family." You're being too sensitive. Too sensitive. Those two words have probably disconnected more people from their intuition than any others. In that moment, the child learns something devastating. Their feelings aren't reliable. Their inner alarm system, the one that's designed to keep them safe, is apparently broken. They're too something, too sensitive, too dramatic, too imaginative. So they go back to the friend's house. They override their inner knowing because the adults must know better. And years later, as teenagers or adults, when someone asks them how they knew to stay in that toxic relationship or that soul-crushing job, they'll say, "I knew something was wrong, but I thought I was just being too sensitive." The family patterns run deep. Big boys don't cry teaches boys that their emotional intelligence is weakness. Good girls don't get angry teaches girls that their fierce protective instincts are inappropriate. Children should be seen and not heard teaches all children that their voice, their truth, their inner knowing is less valuable than maintaining the comfort of adults. We learn to perform rather than feel. We learn to please rather than trust. We learn to look for approval rather than check in with our inner compass. The child who once knew exactly when they were hungry learns to eat by the clock. The child who knew when they were tired learns to push through because it's not bedtime yet. The child who knew which activities lit them up inside learns to pursue what looks good on college applications. Layer by layer, moment by moment, the connection inner knowing gets buried under shoulds and supposed to us. The voice that once spoke so clearly becomes a whisper, then barely a murmur beneath the chorus of external authorities. I knew someone once who told me a story that breaks my heart every time I think about it. When she was 7, she had a babysitter that made her deeply uncomfortable. Nothing overtly wrong happened, but every cell in her body screamed danger when he was around. She told her parents she didn't like him, but they thought she was just being difficult about having a babysitter. He was the son of their friends, a good kid from a good family. She must be mistaken. Years later, when she was in college, she found out that this babysitter had been arrested for inappropriate behavior with children. Her 7-year-old self had known. Her inner knowing had been screaming the truth, but she'd been taught not to trust it. And the saddest part? When she told me this story, she still wondered if she was being too dramatic about how much it affected her to realize she'd been right all along. This is the great forgetting. Not just that we learn to doubt ourselves, but that we learn to doubt the very mechanism of knowing itself. We forget that we have an inner guidance system more sophisticated than any external authority. We forget that our bodies know things our minds haven't figured out yet. We forget that feelings are information, intuition is intelligence, and that the wisdom we seek outside has been within us all along. The education system plays its part by teaching us that answers come from books and experts. Our families play their part by teaching us that our feelings are too much or not enough. And slowly, systematically, we forget the most fundamental truth of our existence, that we came here knowing exactly who we are and what we need. We forget that before anyone taught us how to think, we knew how to be. This is society's most successful programming, convincing us that truth is determined by consensus, that wisdom comes from credentials, that authority exists in systems and structures, but never in the still, small voice within. We've been programmed to believe that our feelings are unreliable, our intuition is woo-woo nonsense, and our inner knowing is just our imagination. But here's what they don't tell you about all these external authorities, all these experts and systems and structures. They're all just people who at some point decided to trust themselves. The expert became an expert by following their curiosity. The leader became a leader by trusting their vision. The innovator became an innovator by believing in something no one else could see yet. Every external authority you've ever looked to was once just someone who decided their inner knowing was worth following. The cosmic joke is that we give our power away to people who claim theirs. We trust everyone who trusts themselves, except ourselves. We've created a society where confidence is currency, but we've forgotten that the bank is inside us. We're all walking around bankrupt while sitting on untold wealth, looking for loans from others who simply learn to access their own accounts. Now we come to the part that changes everything. The part that makes all the forgetting and programming not just sad, but cosmically absurd. Because here's the truth that your cells know even if your mind is forgotten. You came here already knowing. Before you learned language, before you were taught to doubt, before anyone told you who you should be, you were a collection of atoms that have been swirling through the universe for billions of years. The carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of it was forged in the hearts of dying stars. You are literally made of cosmic intelligence, and that intelligence didn't suddenly become stupid when it organized itself into your particular form. Think about this for a moment. Really let it sink in. The same force that knows how to turn a single cell into a human being, that knows how to heal a cut without your conscious involvement, that knows how to regulate thousands of chemical processes every second. This same intelligence is what you're doubting when you doubt yourself. Your inner knowing isn't some vague, mystical concept. It's the universe speaking through the only voice it has in your particular corner of existence, yours. When you get a gut feeling about something, that's billions of years of evolution having a conversation with your conscious mind. When your intuition speaks, that's the same intelligence that guides migrating birds and teaches flowers when to bloom. Every cell in your body knows how to heal without your conscious mind getting involved. Think about that. You get a cut and immediately, without any instruction from you, your body begins an incredibly complex healing process. Platelets rush to the scene, forming clots. White blood cells arrive to fight infection. New skin cells begin dividing and growing. Blood vessels reconnect. All of this happens without you needing to Google how to heal a cut or consult an expert. Your body knows. It just knows. Your heart beats without you telling it to. Your lungs breathe while you sleep. Your digestive system breaks down food into exactly the nutrients you need. Your immune system identifies and eliminates threats you're not even aware of. All of this happens through an intelligence that doesn't need external validation, doesn't second-guess itself, doesn't need to check with anyone else's opinion. This is the same intelligence that speaks through your intuition. Your gut feelings are your body's way of communicating complex information that your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. Scientists have discovered that we have more neural cells in our gut than in our entire spinal cord. We literally have a second brain in our belly, and when we say we have a gut feeling, we're acknowledging a very real, very sophisticated information processing system. Your intuition is cosmic GPS. Just like a GPS system receives signals from satellites orbiting Earth to know exactly where you are and where you need to go, your intuition receives signals from a larger intelligence of which you're a part. It knows things your logical mind can't know because it's connected to information streams your conscious awareness can't access. I once met a woman who told me she'd had a dream about a specific medical condition 3 months before she was diagnosed with it. Her dream showed her exactly where in her body the problem was, and even suggested what she needed to do about it. When she finally went to the doctor after symptoms appeared, the diagnosis matched her dream precisely. Her inner knowing had detected cellular changes that no machine could have found at that early stage. This isn't unusual. It's just usually dismissed. We've been programmed to believe these instances are coincidence, luck, or confirmation bias. But what if they're exactly what they appear to be? What if your body, connected as it is to the intelligence that runs the universe, actually knows things before they become obvious to external observation? Here's the cosmic truth that breaks apart everything we've been taught. When you doubt yourself, you're not just doubting some fallible human personality. You're doubting the universe itself. You're telling the intelligence that orchestrates galaxies that it doesn't know what it's doing in your particular case. You're suggesting that the wisdom that evolved you from stardust to consciousness suddenly got confused about whether you should take that job, or trust that person, or follow that dream. Imagine the absurdity of a wave doubting the ocean. Imagine a leaf questioning whether the tree knows how to grow. This is what we do every time we dismiss our inner knowing in favor of external authority. We're essentially saying that the cosmic intelligence is smart enough to maintain the perfect distance between Earth and the Sun, but too stupid to guide us through our daily decisions. Your intuition isn't separate from cosmic intelligence. It is cosmic intelligence expressing itself through your unique perspective. When you get a strong feeling about something, that's the universe having an opinion. When your body tells you something is wrong, that's billions of years of evolutionary wisdom sending you a telegram. When your heart pulls you toward a certain path, that's your cosmic GPS recalculating based on information your conscious mind doesn't have access to. But here's where it gets even more profound. Not only are you connected to cosmic intelligence, you're a unique and necessary expression of it. The universe doesn't make mistakes or create redundancies. If you're here, it's because your particular perspective, your specific way of knowing and being, is needed. Your inner knowing isn't just valid, it's invaluable. It's the universe experiencing itself through your eyes, making decisions through your choices, expanding through your growth. When you trust yourself, you're not just making personal development progress. You're participating in the universe's self-discovery. Every time you follow your intuition, you're helping cosmic intelligence learn something new about itself. Every time you honor your inner knowing over external pressure, you're adding to some total of universal wisdom. This is why self-doubt is so cosmically tragic. It's not just that you're making your own life harder. You're literally preventing the universe from expressing itself fully through you. You're like a violin refusing to be played because it doesn't trust the music inside it, not realizing that the symphony of existence needs exactly the notes you were designed to play. The mystics have always known this. The poets have tried to tell us. Even quantum physics is catching up, showing us that consciousness and matter are far more intertwined than we ever imagined. You're not a separate being trying to figure out life alone. You're life itself, pretending to be separate, playing a cosmic game of forgetting so you can have the joy of remembering. And what you're remembering is this: the wisdom you seek is the wisdom you are. The knowing you're looking for has been looking through your eyes this whole time. The voice you're learning to trust is the voice of the cosmos, speaking in the only language you were designed to fully understand, your own inner knowing. So now we stand at the threshold. We've seen how we learn to forget, how society reinforced that forgetting, and we've remembered the cosmic truth of what we really are. But knowing and embodying are two different things. Understanding intellectually that you're made of stardust and cosmic intelligence is one thing. Actually trusting yourself in the grocery store, in relationships, in daily decisions, that's where the rubber meets the road. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really pause here and consider. When was the last time you knew something without needing proof? Not thought, not suspected, not hoped, but knew with the same certainty that you know the sun will rise tomorrow. When was the last time your body told you something so clearly that no amount of external evidence could have swayed you? For many of us, we have to think back years, maybe decades. Maybe we have to go all the way back to childhood, before the programming took hold. But I'm willing to bet that everyone listening has had at least one moment where their inner knowing spoke so loudly that it was impossible to ignore. Maybe it saved you from danger. Maybe it led you to love. Maybe it pulled you away from a path that looked perfect on paper but felt wrong in your bones. These moments are proof. They're evidence that beneath all the conditioning, your inner knowing is not only intact but impeccable. It's like a perfectly tuned instrument that's been sitting in a dusty attic. It doesn't need to be fixed or improved. It just needs to be played again. So let's start playing. Today, right now, I want you to make one decision from your gut feeling, not logic. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's what to have for lunch. Maybe it's what to call that friend who just popped into your mind. Maybe it's which route to take home. The size doesn't matter. What matters is the practice. Here's how you do it. When faced with a decision, before your mind starts its pro and con list, before you reach for your phone to research options, pause. Take a breath. Drop your awareness into your body. What do you feel? Not think, feel. Is there an expansion or contraction? A warmth or coolness? A pulling toward or pushing away? Your body speaks in sensation, not words. Your intuition communicates through feeling, not logic. So you have to learn its language. And the only way to learn is to practice. Make the decision based on that feeling, especially if your mind has 17 reasons why it doesn't make sense. Now, this is crucial. You need to recognize the difference between intuition and fear. They can feel similar at first because both create strong bodily sensations. But intuition, even when it's warning you away from something, has a quality of clarity to it. It's clean. It's simple. It says yes or no without a story attached. Fear, on the other hand, is noisy. It comes with a whole narrative, usually about what might happen, what people might think, what could go wrong. Fear projects into future or drags up the past. Intuition exists only in the present moment. Fear contracts you and makes you feel smaller. Intuition, even when it's guiding you away from something, makes you feel aligned with yourself. Here's a practice that can help you distinguish between the two. When you get a strong feeling about something, ask yourself, is this feeling making me more myself or less myself? Intuition always guides you toward greater authenticity, even when it's uncomfortable. Fear always pushes you toward some version of yourself that you think will be safer, more acceptable, more lovable. Let's make this even more practical with a mantra practice. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself seeking external validation or doubting your inner knowing, pause and repeat, I trust the wisdom within me. Say it even if you don't fully believe it yet. Say it especially when you don't believe it. Because here's the thing about mantras. They're not magic words that change reality. They're tuning forks that help you remember your natural frequency. I trust the wisdom within me. Notice how it feels to say this. Notice where in your body you feel resistance or opening. The resistance is just the programming saying, but what about the experts? What about the data? What about what everyone else thinks? Thank the programming for trying to keep you safe and then repeat, I trust the wisdom within me. Start small. Trust yourself about small things and watch what happens. Notice how often your intuition is accurate. Notice how your body relaxes when you honor its signals. Notice how decisions become easier when you're not trying to think your way through everything. Build evidence for yourself that your inner knowing is trustworthy. I want to share something with you. A few years ago, I was offered what looked like an incredible opportunity. Everything about it made logical sense. The money was great. The prestige was appealing. The people involved were impressive. My mind had 100 reasons to say yes. But something in my gut kept saying no. Not a fearful no, not a contracted no, just a clear, quiet no. I spent weeks trying to talk myself into it. I made lists, I consulted friends. I analyzed it from every angle. But that quiet no never wavered. Finally, exhausted from fighting my own knowing, I declined the opportunity. Everyone thought I was crazy. I half thought I was crazy. 6 months later, I found out that the company had been built on false premises, and everyone involved ended up in legal trouble. My intuition had known something my conscious mind couldn't have known. It had protected me in ways I couldn't have protected myself. But here's the real gift from that experience. It wasn't just about avoiding a bad situation. It was about building unshakable trust in my inner knowing. Now, when my intuition speaks, I listen immediately. I don't need to understand why. I don't need external validation. I trust the wisdom within me because I've proven to myself that it's trustworthy. This is available to you too, not because you need to develop it or earn it or become worthy of it. It's available because it's what you are. You are cosmic intelligence having a human experience. You are the universe's way of knowing itself. You are a unique and necessary perspective in the grand conversation of existence. Every time you trust yourself, you're saying yes to this truth. Every time you honor your inner knowing over external pressure, you're claiming your cosmic inheritance. Every time you choose intuition over analysis paralysis, you're participating in the universe's ongoing creation. And here's the paradox that makes all of this even more beautiful. The more you trust yourself, the more trustworthy you become. Not because you're becoming something new, but because you're finally allowing what you've always been aflow unimpeded. You're getting out of your own way. You're letting the cosmic GPS guide you home. The integration isn't about adding something new to your life. It's about subtracting all the voices that aren't yours. It's about unlearning the programming that taught you to doubt. It's about remembering that before you were taught how to think, you knew how to know. So today, make one decision from your gut. Tomorrow, make two. Build a muscle of self-trust the same way you build any muscle, through consistent practice. Notice the voice of programming when it arises. Thank it for its concern, and then choose to trust the wisdom within you instead. Because here's the ultimate truth. The universe has been waiting billions of years for you to trust yourself. Everything you're seeking is seeking you, but it can only find you when you're being fully yourself. And you can only be fully yourself when you trust the inner knowing that makes you who you are. We've taken quite a journey today, haven't we? From that confident toddler who trusted every feeling to the programmed adult who checked 17 reviews before choosing a restaurant. From the great forgetting to the cosmic remembering. From self-doubt to self-trust. But this isn't the end of anything. It's the beginning of coming home to yourself. It's the start of remembering what you never truly forgot, just temporarily misplaced under layers of other people's opinions and society's expectations. The mantra I want to leave you with today is simple but profound. I am remembering who I always was. Not becoming someone new. Not fixing what's broken. Not adding what's missing. Just remembering. Because everything you need, everything you're seeking, everything you're hoping to become, you already are. You've just forgotten. I am remembering who I always was. Say it when the old programming kicks in. Say it when you're tempted to give your power away to external authorities. Say it when your intuition speaks and your mind tries to argue. Say it as a declaration of cosmic independence, a recognition that you are not separate from the intelligence that runs a universe. You are its unique expression. Tomorrow, we're going to explore another layer of this cosmic amnesia. We'll dive into why do we feel so small when we're made of stardust. We'll look at how we learn to diminish ourselves, to play small, to hide our light under bushels of false humility. We'll remember that you're not just connected to the cosmos. You are the cosmos, pretending to be small, playing hide and seek with your own magnificence. But for now, for today, I want to leave you with a challenge. One simple, profound challenge. Make one decision today from your inner knowing. Not from logic, not from what makes sense, not from what others expect, but from that deep, quiet voice within that has been waiting patiently for you to listen again. Maybe it's something tiny, which tea to drink, which song to play, which way to walk. Maybe it's something bigger that's been tugging at your heart. The size doesn't matter. What matters is the practice of trusting yourself again. Because every time you trust your inner knowing, you're not just making a personal choice. You're participating in the universe's self-discovery. You're adding your unique note to the cosmic symphony. You're saying yes to the intelligence that brought you here and knows exactly why you came. Remember, you were born knowing. The forgetting was learned, which means the remembering is always possible. Your inner wisdom never left. It just got buried under should and supposed to and what will they think. But it's still there, as perfect and trustworthy as it was the day you arrived on this planet. You are not broken. You are not lacking. You are not too much or not enough. You are cosmic intelligence wearing a human costume, and it's time to trust the wisdom that you are. So go ahead, make that decision from your gut. Follow that intuition. Trust that knowing. The universe has been waiting billions of years for you to remember who you always were. Don't keep it waiting any longer. Until next time, remember, you are the wisdom you seek. You always have been. You always will be. Trust the wisdom within you. It's the voice of the cosmos, and it's speaking your name.